Good morning, good morning, good morning. Morris, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
I'm going to come over here next to you. Hi. I'm David Mork. I'm the Rotary Heritage Project guy. This is a video of Morris Johnson, who is going to discuss with us his Rotary background here in Sun Lakes. And we're so happy to have him, and we'll be asking questions, and he'll be responding, and thank you very much. Just watch and enjoy. So Morris, you've been a Rotarian since 2005, March 20th. We're so glad you're a part of our club. I'm going to ask you 13 questions. And I know you weren't a charter member, but what was the reason, the challenge, or the path that you got here to Sun Lakes Rotary?
Marion and I moved to Sun Lakes after I retired in 2003. Lee Widener, good friend from church, invited me to visit and join Rotary. We were outfitting our house, and it took about a year from the first invitation, or maybe over a year, before I joined the Rotary Club. But that's how I came into the club.
This club has been providing opportunities for service along the 4 avenues of service of Rotary. How have you been able to meet the challenges of life and still be involved in the Rotary projects that you're in? Can you expound on the Rotary projects that you're a part of?
I can. I was, of course, as I said, retired, and there's an interesting story about the establishment of this club 30 years ago. Rotary International was very slow in allowing us to become a club, and I think the reason was they didn't think that a bunch of old men sitting around drinking coffee would constitute a Rotary club. As I'll mention a little bit later, during my year as president of the club, I was wondering how anybody could even run a Rotary club with people who were working, putting food on the table, paying the mortgage, going to work 5 days a week. So Rotary, for me as a retiree, has been, of course, an avenue of service, but a source of work and satisfaction and good fellowship.
That is, that's what I think the future of Rotary needs to expound upon, and Rotary service and service above self. That's the concept, and you have lived that and proved that. You were an officer, as you mentioned. You've been you not only take us through the officers that you've been involved in the club since 2005.
You asked me to tell a little bit about my activities.
Sure.
I started off as my first activity was I was working in the Strive project, which no longer is with us. I worked in the Choices program for many years. Both of those are what we call heritage programs. I was made a director of the education services activity, and as such, President Terry asked me to establish a charities review committee.
Oh, yes.
So that was a worthwhile activity. I was president of the club in 2009, 2010, and I always imagined that the most difficult activity for a president would be to think of innovative activities for the club or be an inspiring leader. What I found was the most difficult thing as president of the Rotary Club was to say no. There were a few members who were always out ahead of the group trying to claim the title of Rotary for their own individual projects, and so saying no was a difficult thing.
Are you still a director today?
I was a director for many years. Of course, the best job in Rotary is past president. So I was president 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
Then I served as immediate past president. And then I served for several years as a director after that. Besides being on the board of directors, I was a member of the foundation committee headed up by Dwight Snyder. And Dwight had been chairman of that committee for many years. I took over as chairman of that committee for several years. And then one of my proudest achievements was performing good succession planning.
There you go.
Because I recruited John McCoy to that committee and also encouraged him to become the chairman of that committee, which he has now been for about 3 years.
And today at our Rotary Club meeting, we at the club, through your leadership, provided a check to a young lady through the as a scholarship for over $4,000. Can you take us through the selection process of how the Chandler Gilbert College student got that $4,000 check?
Yes, I can. One of my other,
Because that's a great accomplishment for me to watch the smile on that young girl's face. To get a $4,000 check, that's just a lot of money towards education, and that's got to be so gratifying to know that you led that.
this club has been so active in supporting education. I mentioned Strive and Choices, but one of our important committees is the Vocational Scholarship Committee. The mandate of the Vocational Scholarship Committee is to identify and assess young working people who have realized that they need to further their education to better their lives, to support their families, or whatever driving force they have that forces them back into education. And this young woman is a perfect example of that kind of candidate that we're looking for. Rotary, through Paul Harris, of course, has such a strong component of vocation. So the vocational scholarship activity is I think one of our most valuable services in the community.
It's just amazing what you and your committee do on behalf of the club. How?
Excuse me, we have worked with Chandler Gilbert Community College for, I would say, close to a decade now, finding worthy recipients of our scholarship in that college.
It's just amazing. I'm sure the young lady is thrilled. Has been, having been the president and the chair of this, and changing lives, and being involved in Choices, and in the former project known as Strive, has this changed your life since you've been involved in this Rotary Club?
I guess we make our lives day by day as we go, but certainly Rotary has been such an important part of my retired life. My dad was a lifelong Lion.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
one of his regrets, I think, was that I never joined the Lions Club. And
And this is your first entree into Rotary since you've become a member here.
That's right. I always considered when I was working that I didn't have time for service organizations, but it has, in my retirement, it's been a source of great satisfaction and fellowship and pleasure.
I can see how your smile on your face, it shows, and this video will show that. And one of my ideas is to ask you these questions, but I know the answer before I even ask it. So can you please you show it. Describe the feelings that you have when you come into this Sun Lakes Rotary Club meeting room, if you can, please.
You know, this is a morning club. We claim that the meeting runs from 7 to 8. Actually, pretty much the meeting starts about 6 a.m. Nan shows up about 6 a.m. and many of us, besides those who set up the room, show up at 6 or a few minutes after. We have coffee and stand around and chat. And of course, this year's President Bill, has jam-packed meetings, and he usually starts the meeting before 7 o'clock anyway. But specifically, when I come in the room, I just see my friends and always have some work to do, some questions to answer, and some people to chase down.
Do you have words that you can tell the viewers who will see this about maintaining and sustaining your club membership? What keeps you here, Morris? These people that will see this in the future hopefully are not only current Rotarians, hopefully future Rotarians. And because of your statements that you might make today, might be the reason that these people might come into our club and be as a strong supporter of Rotary as you are.
I would hope that the opportunity for service, fellowship, education, getting out and about in the community will be attractive to people for years and years to come. I understand that my generation and those before mine were more joiners than the newer generations. I'm told that the younger generations are less likely to join organizations, but for me, I can only recommend that you come to Rotary and give it a shot.
Final question. Thank you. But final question. What will be, and what would you like your legacy to be, as this might be viewed 10 years from today?
Well, I think the opportunities for service and for fellowship will always be there, and I'm hoping that people will recognize that and continue for this club to grow in strength and outreach in years to come.
Morris, it's a pleasure to do this, and you're a great Rotarian.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.